Hey guys, Ralph Higgins here, and an extra healing session today. I hesitated doing this one, but I really sat with it for a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And this is a healing session that you can have. I want to make sure everything is off here. That you can have right now. So, if something were to be done for you today, what might that be? And I say it in that way. It's the way Richard Bartlett used to say it sometimes in class, in matrix energetics classes. I love Richard Bartlett, and I'm so grateful for him and his work. He really opened my eyes through experiences of what's actually possible and how so many times our beliefs really stop us. And I'm going to say something. I'm going to tell a story that even it just seems incredible. I actually told a client yesterday this story, and she said, "Is that true?" And I said, "Yeah, it's true." And so the thing is, it's what somebody told me was their experience after interacting with me and our work about quite a few years ago, and after working with me for 8 weeks. And so I'm going to tell that story. And full disclosure, all this, that kind of disclaimer stuff, nothing is guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed. You can't guarantee somebody's healing. You can't guarantee their success in business. You can't guarantee they're going to be alive tomorrow. Especially nowadays, there's no guarantees, right? So nothing I say is meant to be taken like, oh, this is a guarantee. This is how it is all the time. This is a regular occurrence. Um, I know I was watching my coach um, do a thing about like good ways to say things in websites, in funnels. It's called website funnels. And he literally put mine as an example of what not to say, because I was mentioning, do you want to experience a 2-minute miracle? And he says that you can't say that. Nobody would believe that. And it's like, but the thing is, it doesn't even need 2 minutes. Like, how much time does God need? Or how much space do you need? How much time is needed for grace to come in from the universe, from spirit? So I'm going to say something. I'm going to tell a couple of stories, and then I'm going to do a healing session. And you can notice what you notice and notice what's different after being on this call, simply from the chair you're sitting in right now. And it's okay to even be skeptical. It's kind of cool to be open-minded and skeptical, and it's even better to actually test something before and after, so you can tell is something different. So I invite you to check your range of motion and your how things move in your body, and walk around and test it and see how it is, and then see how life is afterwards, and just notice what's different, because this is a healing session for you. And that's what's important, right? Like, what changes for you right now and in this instant. So years ago, like my client said, "Ralph, can you just use your magic wand?" And so I actually took two of my magic wands, and I said, "Which one do you want?" And she goes, "The big one." So I took the big magic wand, and I told the story of how I got this. So I'll tell it briefly without giving too much away, of so people are anyway. I'll just start this talk. So years ago, I got a call when I had my clinic in San Diego, healing clinic in San Diego, and got a call from a physical therapy student who said, "I want to do my last internship at your clinic in San Diego." And I said, "Okay, that's cool." We had taken some clients from Creighton University before, and Mount St. Mary's, and other ones in LA. And so I said, "Yeah, we'll take you." And so I did the paperwork, and she showed up, and we had a great time. And she ended up taking Matrix Energetics from Richard Bartlett in Chicago about 3 weeks into the session, into her 8-week clinical, and and um and so I could tell she was first just following me around for the first 3 weeks, and just watching as people got healed and stuff. And we worked with people, and and I could tell she got it. Like, I could tell she could do it. She didn't know it yet, but I could feel it. And so I would tell her stuff like, "Remember what it felt like when we were working with our office manager's brother?" And I said, "Remember that feeling you had?" I said, "Do that now." And so she would, and it was huge. It was big shifts. So it was getting really fun. But then she took Matrix Energetics for 5 days in Chicago and came back. And then we just had amazing fun. It was just like the most fun experience of just helping people with their healing. And we saw miracles and miracles. And in her last week, might have been even the last day, she said, "Ralph, you have ruined me for physical therapy." And she was smiling, and she gave me this wand. It's a Harry Potter wand. And she said, and this is where it gets a little weird, but kind of cool. And this is my experience. This is what she told me. This is what my recollection of it. I've told it ever since she did this. She said, I think I know why I came. And long story short, her brother had had a terrible accident. I'll leave it at that. And there was talk of all sorts of amputations because of an accident. And she said that there was a miracle. He just miraculously healed, and you couldn't even tell that he had had a problem. And so she said she thought this was her last day after 8 weeks hanging out with me and doing matrix energetics and playing in that field of the infinite possibilities. She says, I think what happened was I had come to your clinic and I had time traveled back and he healed. And so I had to come do it in real life, in like regular time. Now, this was a person that was a regular physical therapy student before she met us, before she met me and Jen. And so that seems impossible, right? But that was her words coming out of her mouth. And she gave me this magic wand. So then a few weeks ago, we were visiting friends, and I, for some reason, I started talking about stuff. I don't know, we were just talking about all sorts of stuff. And so I'll tell you another little story and see what your experience is of this. And then we'll do this session, and I'll give you one secret about how I do this, and give you a free gift here in a little bit, see if you like. So I was visiting with a bunch of friends. It was a great hangout, and I just started talking, and I said, you know, one of the problems with science is that there's a lot of assumptions that are made. And when quantum physics was, I get this from Nassim Haramein, amazing physics guy, has a paper called the Schwarzschild Proton, which if you haven't read it, it's scientific. It's in the scientific peer-reviewed journals. It's amazing. So I'm going to describe it in the way I just understand it in layman's terms. But basically, the idea was he had a problem because in quantum physics, there was, when they were doing the math in the 1950s to come up with this whole idea of like quantum mechanics, quantum physics, they the big picture of how things are, the nature of reality, they did the math to figure out how much energy is in space, like in a cubic centimeter of space, how much energy is in that, and they came up with a concept that messed up all their math. They came up with something called infinity. And so it messed up all their equations. They couldn't do their math with this concept, infinity, in the equation is how much energy is in the space, in the vacuum. And so they even called it in the book, I think it's called Gravitation, this giant textbook of gravity and quantum physics. They called it nasty infinity because it messed up all their math. So what they did was kind of cool, but kind of weird. They took infinity out of the equation, and they said, okay, well, in this cubic centimeter space, what's the smallest thing we know that the universe does? And it's called the Max Planck constant. And it's basically a little photon of light. And so the idea is the distance it is across one photon of light, or the time it takes for one photon to cross the distance of another photon. So that small number, they said, how many of those Planck's constants are in a cubic centimeter of space? And they came up with a really big number. And so what they did was they plugged that really big number into the equations, and they said, this is how much energy is in space, in the empty space. And then their math made sense, but then things like gravity didn't make sense. And there was a big problem, and this really bugged Nassim Haramein, was, okay, you've got this idea like an atom, and you've got this atom, and you've got two protons, and the protons are positively charged, right? But if you have two magnets that are positively charged, they're going to move apart. They're not going to stay together. They're not going to spin around each other. They're going to move apart until it gets to a kind of equilibrium point. And so what keeps these two protons together? And they didn't know, but they calculated how much energy would be required to hold these two positively charged protons together. And that really that really, really big number of how much energy would it require to keep two little magnets, two little protons, positively charged protons together. That amount of energy, they said, we know that's there because these things are stuck together. We're going to call it dark energy, like dark matter, and we don't know what it is. We've never seen it, but it's got to be there. So we're making up this big number called dark energy or dark matter. So they've taken infinity out of equations. They've made up a really, really, really big number to make up how much energy is in the vacuum. They've made up a really, really, really big number to say this is the amount of energy that holds two protons together. So there's a lot of assumptions there. So Nassim was like very just concerned about it. And so what he did was he did a lot of calculations and actually worked with another physicist that did the math because he didn't have an actual physics degree. He was just studying himself. But he got this physics, retired physics professor scientist to do the math. And they came up with a paper called the Schwarzschild proton. And you can look it up. It's there if you can find it. And what they found was the amount of energy in each little proton is really big. From my understanding, it's infinity. It's at least very, 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 very big. It's in the nature of a black hole. And so that's infinitely dense of energy, like enormous amounts of energy and weight, mass actually. And so what's holding those two protons together is gravity. But then what's cool is those two protons are spinning around each other at the speed of light. So these two protons that each of them have an infinite amount of energy, which in and of itself, that's weird because we're made up of a lot of protons, right? And the universe is made up of a lot of protons, and every single proton has an infinite amount of energy and mass. If there's an infinite amount here, but there's also an infinite amount here, that starts to get really weird. And that's when my friend was like, whoa, what is going on? But it explains a lot of stuff like distance healing and communicating through your mind to someone across the world. And it's kind of like Wi-Fi. The information is here, but it's also here, and it's also here. It's also in China. You just have to have the right code or the right wireless device to access the information. But it's like it's everywhere. Kind of like our DNA. Like our DNA, every little bit of information to make a human, to make you, is in your fingernail, but it's also in your eyebrow, and it's also in your ear. It's also in a cell of your heart. The information to make every bit of you is in every little dot of you. And it appears from this kind of science that Nassim did when he took away these assumptions that the information from the whole entire universe is in every dot of the universe. Isn't that weird? So now we're going to do a little something, and I'm going to tell you a secret and I'll give you a special gift. So we're going to say everything you want. Special shout out to all my teachers. So what you can do is retest how you move, retest how the world looks, and then later today, just walk around and notice how the world is, how people treat you, how your finances are, how your business is, how life feels, how people treat you, how you physically feel. Just notice how you feel, what's different. And let me know, comment below, even if you've already felt a change, if you felt something shift for you. I'm going to tell you a secret. One of the things that's cool about this whole matrix energetics way of healing, it's really everything else that I use too, fits into the same different versions of this same way of accessing the infinite. One of the cool things is I actually did this session before I got on the call. So it was already done. And it's way cool because it takes all the pressure off. So the field or God or space or that infinite has your back. And so that's one of my secrets. And I'm going to be opening up more of like how I do this So look for that if you're interested in how to do this, how to play like this, and let me know what you notice that's different. Let me know what you notice that's different. And if you want, the gift that I'm giving you, if you want, is if you like that, you know, I can't see you right now in person, but I'm assuming if you're still here, you want this extra gift. I'm giving a free session. I do a group session every single month for our group, our Miracles, Magic, Healing, and More group. And you can have it for free this month. It's at ralphhavens.com/free miracle session. So look for that. And I'd love to hear what you've got going on and what you would like healed or what you would like to change, and also how it went with this session. So I, you know, I've dedicated my life to helping people heal, and part of it was definitely to heal myself. So I'd love to hear how you're doing and what you would like help with. So message me, and I will see you guys all very soon. Bye now.